Hello again, everyone. It's another episode of Talking God and Politics with Mark, Mike, and Denise. Hope everyone's doing well. Of course, everyone woke up today with the big news, Mark, that the Epstein list hung itself right before it was going to be released.
Right.
Wow.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
right before
I guess we know who's on that list.
I guess so.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that Benjamin Netanyahu is riding in here victorious.
Oh, yeah.
Right
Guess who's coming to dinner?
Yeah. Oh gosh, that guy's such a.
I guess they're having dinner tonight. He came in this morning.
Ugh.
Right on time.
To give Trump his marching orders, I guess.
Yeah. It was funny because there were memes all over X saying America's true president's in town. Time to give his employees their marching orders.
Yeah.
Right.
That's sad but true.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it happened right at the right moment. Canceled the Epstein files. There's, he committed suicide for nothing. Maxwell is in prison for
Absolutely nothing.
Just in time.
Yeah, just this all makes total logical sense.
Virginia Guffrey was suicided for absolutely no reason. Yeah. 100% total. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. She got hit by a bus going, faster than any bus ever has gone ever. And then that didn't work. She decided to kill herself.
Right.
For nothing.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Well, I was watching Roger Stone today, and he kind of said what I was thinking as well. And that is, I think that they destroyed most of this evidence. And I think that's kind of what they're seeing. I think that's definitely a possibility. Just like the JFK files that are released. I mean, how many years have they had to bury and destroy evidence? I mean, come on. I mean, yeah. I wasn't real hopeful on that either.
I did see that, that the previous administration has destroyed most of the evidence. But okay, then why lie about it? Why do you have flight logs on your desk and all these names on your desk? You know?
There's some things that don't add up. She's giving these press conferences where she's saying, "Oh yeah, I've got over 250 videos of these men raping children."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you can't create a list based upon the videos that you see. Mm-hmm. You can't create a list based upon the flight logs and interviewing the pilots and the hostesses and all that stuff. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah. And nothing about it adds up. Well, I say nothing about it adds up to why, because the whole time, if you listen to the press conference today, she said, well, we've been transparent from the beginning. And she was dodging the question big time. I wish I had the video. We'll see if I can find it before we end tonight. I'll see if I can pull it up. And I'm going, well, none of this adds up. And then I get a breaking news, which was this morning, but I didn't see it till later, that sure enough, Netanyahu's coming in for dinner. And I was like, now it makes sense. Now I understand.
Yeah.
So, and that's why. There's no doubt. And, you saw all these, at least I've seen it on X, a lot of people kind of turn. They were kind of saying, well, the Iran, making excuses for the Iran war, but there's no excuse for this, except, of course, Benny. What's that guy's name? Benny
Johnson.
Benny Johnson. He came out with, I was like, well, I'm going to see how some of these guys can spin this. And sure enough, let's see if I can find it here. He comes out with a spin. And he was even earlier today saying, Caroline Levitt, he was kind of giving her a hard time for saying those things. And then sure enough, he comes out. Did he pull the feed? I can't. Oh, he must have pulled it. He posted on X basically that he was defending Cash and Bongino for the great work that they've done in trying to uncover this. But it looks like he may have pulled that down.
Yeah, Drew Hernandez said we're being gaslit. And he's saying Trump is gaslighting us. And this is what Trump said. He says the FBI, under the direction of Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, is back to the basics, looking up criminals, locking up criminals, and cleaning up America's streets. We have the greatest law enforcement professionals in the world, but politics, quote unquote, and corrupt leadership often prevented them from doing their job. That is no longer the case. And now they have been unleashed to do their jobs. And they are doing just that. Keep up the great work. Keep America safe again. I mean, give me a break. It's like throwing it right in our face. That's exactly what we're thinking, is that you're not doing your job and that this is all politics. And he's trying to say, oh, no, it's not politics. That was in the past, but now we're really getting stuff done. Oh, please.
Yeah. And so let's just say the JFK files over the years, different administrations have destroyed the evidence, and now it's reduced down to basically a nothing burger. And they go, and that's fine. Okay, there's not enough there. Here's what's there. Go ahead, read for yourself. Not much there. But they're also playing that card with Epstein, and we know that's not true. I mean, everybody now knows that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, these are the theories. The theories are, number one, it's too big to expose because it would destroy the whole government. It would wipe out the CIA and the whole government. That's what some people are saying. Well, Kennedy talked about chopping up pieces of the CIA and scattering it to the four winds of the earth, and that would be a good thing. So I don't think that theory has much weight to it. The other theory is that Trump is not releasing it. He's keeping all that information to blackmail the deep state and to get more information and to get his agenda passed. I don't know. I go with the more basic thing that they destroyed all the evidence, but that doesn't fully explain the fact that what Pam Bondi has said, there's just blatant contradictions. They have enough evidence to create a list and to do something, and to say that they can't do anything is just, it's just a lie. There's no way that's true.
Here, let me, I found this clip. I thought I'd saved it, but anyway, I found it. This is basically Bill Gates' wife talking about her divorce of
Bill Gates
and why she did it.
Yeah. Because Epstein was a creep.
Yeah. And so this is my point about the evidence. I mean, come on. All right. Come on. Oh, man. All right. We'll try this one.
Reported that Bill had it was also widely reported that Bill had a friendship or business or some kind of contact with Jeffrey Epstein, and that you were not, that was very upsetting to you. Did that play a role in the divorce at all in this process?
Yeah, as I said, it's not one thing. It was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you made that clear to him?
I made that clear to him. I also met Jeffrey Epstein exactly one time.
Did you?
Yes, because I wanted to see who this man was. And I regretted it from the second I stepped in the door. He was abhorrent. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards. So, my heart breaks for these young women because that's how I felt. And here I'm an older woman. My God, I feel terrible for those young women. It's awful.
You felt that the moment you walked in. I didn't realize
was awful.
That. Yeah. And you shared that with Bill, and he still continued to spend time with him?
Any of the questions remaining about what Bill's relationship there was, those are for Bill to answer.
Okay.
But I made it very clear how I felt about him.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, that's a nothing burger. It's all political. There's nothing left to talk about with Epstein. Nothing.
Mm-mm.
Yep, he killed himself, even though apparently there was absolutely no evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
none of it makes sense. Well, I guess that's the big thing going on today. Of course, we also have the geoengineered storm in Texas. We have a video on that. Let's go ahead and
Came
share.
across this video kind of proving and showing exactly what the cloud seeding and what the weather modification did, not only in Texas, but in Western North Carolina during Helene as well.
And have you seen, before you play that, have you seen where Marjorie Taylor Greene's trying to come out with legislation to stop all that?
Yes.
Let's hope so.
And I know Florida, I think DeSantis has said if their House will pass a bill that he'll sign it and he'll ban all cloud seeding in Florida. I don't know where Texas is, but
Well, I sure
maybe
wish
after this they'll change their
Tennessee is one of the first states to take him to court, but it's still in court, of course.
Peter 70X7
yeah.
bringing you another smoking gun to throw onto the heap of smoking guns. Here we've got Dane Wigington's geoengineeringwatch.org site explaining the blue pulses.
Was Hurricane Helene's path and behavior just the result of natural processes and climate patterns, or was it manipulated? The circular blue flashes seen in this video are frequency transmissions from the NexRad network of transmitter installations. All available science evidence makes clear that atmospheric frequency transmissions can and do have a repelling effect on air masses, especially if and when the air masses have been seeded with electrically conductive nanoparticles. The brighter the blue flash from a frequency transmission installation, the more pronounced and powerful the repelling effect on any air mass or storm in the vicinity will be. Where there are no blue flashes, there is no transmission, thus no repelling effect, thus no resistance for a migrating storm. Translation: a migrating storm will be hindered from moving toward frequency transmissions and will easily migrate in a direction with no transmissions. So again, I ask, was Hurricane Helene's path and behavior just an act of nature, or was it engineered? You decide.
And that we will decide. I think it's pretty obvious. I've now moved over to that same radar site. College of DuPage has this radar online. I'm going to back it up to as far back as I can go. That's being saved July 3rd of 22 UTC hours. So that's right before things really got cranked up in central Texas. So you can see this has already been forming here. And let's just play it out, and it'll scroll from the 3rd into the present. As we see here, we move into the 4th, and the real issues that start taking place in Kerrville and the surrounding areas. Interesting. It seems to be fitting in with exactly the explanation there. Ultimately, in layman's terms, we can just say that the weather is going to where the pulses are not. And that's exactly what's happening right now. This is the current. The weather now is still there in Texas. It's just now migrated north, and
you can see how they've boxed it in.
Fort Worth area, and an educated guess would be that perhaps this is going to move east into the open space of where there's no pulse. And again, remember that explanation talks about the seeding of the clouds as well. It's in conjunction, so there's more than one variable here that creates the ability to steer these storms. And Doc Pete Chambers doing a great job. By the way, there's a man who should be running the state of Texas, God willing. But nonetheless, we've got a lot of information being put out about the cloud seeding. That's not a matter of opinion. That's just fact. And so we've got what just took place in Texas clearly seemed to be another Helene type setup. And now, very interestingly, let's look over here in North Carolina, where we had the tropical system that formed off the coast. That also just kind of popped up out of nowhere. And we could say, yeah, that's typical, things happen. But
Yeah, so this was supposed to be a conspiracy theory for the last 30 years, 40 years.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that, it's just fact now. And
Now, how much is the question? Were there any dams that were opened up, or was all this flooding strictly from rain? I know you look at like Africa and places when the rainy season comes in, there's flooding, and they talk about when you're in Arizona or wherever and you're down in those caverns, that be careful if it's during the rainy season, because it can flood really quickly. Because I've seen some video and it seems to flood very quickly. Curious if any of that stuff was because they opened dams when they shouldn't have, or anything.
I didn't hear anything about dams.
I didn't hear anything about dams. All I heard was that the river rose astronomically fast, and it literally wiped the cabins that these girls were in at the Mystic camp, completely wiped them out downstream.
So how long had it been raining?
It had been raining for a while, and I did see a report where a meteorologist put out a warning 12 hours before, but I think it just happened so quickly, just like in Helene,
Yeah.
And then they do have proof, and they do have evidence. I just saw this report. Thiel-funded weather modification company Rainmaker admits they were seeding clouds in Texas 2 days before the storm. So,
oh wow.
Yeah. So they're able to push the storm wherever they want once they seed the clouds.
yeah.
Now this seeding is federally funded, federal government paying
Yeah.
private companies to do this.
Yeah. This report says that the program was sanctioned by both Texas and federal governments.
So it's a weapon, okay, and it's one of the greatest weapons that you can have. And you can already tell that the justification is like Fauci justifies bioweapons, right? Well, the other side has it, we have to have it. If that's the case, okay, great. So China has theirs and they're sending storms over our way. Fine. You want to knock it off of California so it doesn't come in, or from Canada, whatever. But that's not how this is being used. This is being used to destroy Americans from the deep state and to take over land and minerals and everything else. And if Trump doesn't get a handle on it, it's going to be a serious problem.
So has there been?
Lyndon B. Johnson said the government that controls the weather controls the world.
So there was there severe drought in that area? Has there been?
I think Terry Swift said there's been a severe drought in the
Yeah, I saw that, and that's what I was wondering, because is that why they're seeding the clouds, to try to get it to rain because of drought, and then went, oops?
Well, in that case, there should be some lawsuits. And I was talking to Denise about this last night. Like, I don't understand why there's not lawsuits in Hawaii. There wasn't any lawsuits in Asheville. I mean, this stuff is, you can prove it. Is it just that the government is immune? They have immunity?
But you can geoengineer droughts. That's the thing. You can geoengineer droughts, and you can engineer the weather to not rain, and then you can engineer the weather to rain excessively. You can do this to control. So much geoengineering has been done in Africa to specifically control the weather. It's insane.
It is interesting. Well, I should say it like this. The reason that there hasn't been any lawsuits in Maui for that happened, and even in Malibu, California, is because it's full of liberals who 100% believe that it was climate change. So there's nobody to sue anyway.
Right. And they believe that,
I'm saying that half facetious.
and they
but
believe that cloud
probably
seeding
true.
is helping to solve
Yeah.
climate change
Yeah.
when cloud seeding is
when they're not
causing
denying it.
Yeah.
the climate change.
Yeah. I mean, most of that's what they believe. So they're like, well, there's no foul play here. It's all because of climate change. So,
Yeah. They've got a lot of logic there. They're the same ones that say
Yeah.
two men can
So-
have a baby. So
yeah. So why not? That's why nobody's suing, Mike.
yeah, that's crazy.
And then I
Yeah.
have heard two other things related to Texas. One that Temple Worship just put up is at Camp Mystic, I think for the past 100 years, all the political elites of Texas have sent their daughters to this particular camp. That's interesting. And I have also seen a report or two suggesting that there is some natural gas in this land that they have been wanting to try to capture. So was it done as a land grab? Who knows? Was it done to possibly make sure that the Texas political elite knows their place?
I don't know. That's interesting. I just lean towards, once again, government trying to solve a problem
And
like
making it
drought
worse.
and making it worse and screwing it up, and just
What playing God isn't going to work out well?
yeah.
Playing
it's
God with
difficult.
viruses and playing God
Right.
with the weather. I mean, I can't imagine
Right.
what could go wrong, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I know we've had this conversation 100 times at least that, even the COVID thing, I think it was one of those things they've just like, oops, all right, now we got to figure this out. And here we go again with they're trying to fix a problem and it's just incompetence. And and honestly, you see this in the House and the Senate. I mean, that's I know in the last episode I said it.
Last thing I want to say, will you?
That the third party is a great option because it keeps them fighting with themselves. And I love to see, politicians eat themselves alive because I'd much rather have them fighting than passing laws. And people are like, oh, well, it slows them down and they can't get anything passed. And I'm like, you don't want them to pass anything because it's not like they're passing legislation to get rid of laws.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm not seeing anything. The big, beautiful bill. Come on. Elon's right about that thing. It's terrible. And nothing in there is getting rid of anything other than the taxes on tips, which, okay, fine. Look, I'm all about that. Getting rid of taxes. But I mean, that just scratches the surface.
Yeah, it's low hanging fruit. That's what we were talking about.
Exactly.
Like, what has this administration really done? Who's been prosecuted? Who's gone to jail?
Right.
Nothing. No one. I've even heard that the deportations are lower than even Biden's administration. Like, we're led to believe that like they're just mass deporting people, and the numbers just aren't what they claim. And so not even that is really a big success. I'm just sitting there going, well, what exactly has he done? Except for the low-hanging fruit, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's like, okay, you build the alligator Alcatraz, and I'm assuming they built that to hold illegals because the courts aren't letting them ship them out of the country anymore until the Supreme Court rules. I don't know. I mean, why do you build alligator Alcatraz to house them there when you can just put them on a plane and send them back? Because you can't, I guess, put them on a plane and send them back, just like the previous administration got them here. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I'd be fighting that. I wouldn't be, just get some FEMA trailers and put them in there, and build a fence. You don't have to go all out and build this alligator Alcatraz. It just doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense.
It's just
all
a
for
shiny
show.
object.
Yes,
It's a show. It's all a show.
it is. It's ridiculous.
Pretend like they're actually doing something, to pretend like the MAGA mandate meant something.
So we see the low hanging fruit that's supposed to be something that's nothing. So let's talk about what has been done. Trump came out, and this is why I kind of turned from him, and that is he destroyed freedom of speech, the First Amendment, when he started supporting this anti-Semitism thing where you can't criticize Israel, the Talmud, the Jews, Zionism, and to do so is anti-Semitic. Of course, that's an attack on free speech, First Amendment. That's huge. That's
huge.
That's huge. And then after that, we bombed the hell out of Iran and virtually brought us to World War III. And we're not out of that yet.
No.
Actually, that stoked a lot of problems. He should have just sat back and said, you guys want to have a holy war and knock yourselves out? Go for it. But he didn't. So he did that. So he's done a lot of things that's just counterproductive at this point, and we're just not seeing what we voted for.
Yeah, and that's what I'm because look, we campaigned. You can go back and listen to all the videos that we had while he was campaigning. I was 100% behind him, and it's just failed. And it's been what, 6 months now, and nothing. And then you've got all these MAGA people that are just, I mean, every single excuse in the world to justify or to, this or that. I mean, like Cat Turd and a bunch of them, I had to drop them, man. I was just like, I can't listen to these guys anymore. Try to justify this man. It's crazy. I was trying to see Iran earlier this morning. Iran said they're going to release.
Just trust the plan, Mark. Trust the plan.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, don't worry. He's putting America first.
Yeah.
He's hosting the real president tonight, but
that's I wish I could be a fly on the wall for that one.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I was trying to find it. It looked like
Hey Mark, here's his comment from
New Age Potassi or
says, you know why you didn't get anything on Epstein? Because he's connected to Khashoggi, who was the middleman for the Iran-Contra arms details that were run through Israel. And then they say, if you deep dive into Epstein, you get the Reagan administration's treasonous acts through the Iran-Contra affair. That's interesting.
Interesting.
I did not know that.
No. That makes me want to finish. There is an interview that Tucker did with a guy, Scott Horton, wrote this book. He's written like this book on like the CIA and the deep dive into Iran and how it came about and how Israel's tied in and what led to the U.S.-Israel. And I didn't finish it, but he had mentioned the same thing during the Iran-Contra deal and what Reagan was doing. And I wonder if that's in there. That's interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, I was trying to find it. Looked like Iran came out and said they were releasing. I can't find it. Maybe
I got something I want to share here real quick. This is something by Joel Webbin. He's a partial preterist, post-millennialist, but he's really on track. I mean, basically, just about everything I wrote in my book, Armageddon Deception, he's pretty much tracking on, and he's really good on the Zionists and Israel as a threat. But notice in this video that he does not name the enemy. And he's kind of attacking James White without naming him, because James White is all about Catholics nonstop. He's gonna refute another Catholic apologist, and Joel is just like, dude, we're not in the 1500s anymore. Like, the Catholic Church is not our main threat. Like, back then, the Catholics really killed us. So we have to look at what the real threat is right now, not just theologically, but actually trying to kill us and our children.
So there are still dispensationalists out there that believe the Catholics are the beast and that those are the ones causing all the problems. Wow. I thought that ended in like the late 90s.
No, let's pull this up here. There we go.
last thing I want to say, when you're reading Westminster Confession, when you're reading 1689 Second London Baptist Confession, when you're reading John Calvin, when you're reading these guys, keep in mind, here's the thing, the sons of Issachar, they knew the times.
Yeah.
Guys, it is not the 1500s, it's not the 1600s,
Yep.
it's not the 1700s, it is the year of our Lord 2025. And in the year of our Lord 2025, if you think Roman Catholics are your biggest, greatest threat, then you need to wake the hell up. You don't know what time it is.
Yes.
I understand that. Yes, I understand there's a sense in which the gospel of Christ is always under threat, and the gospel is central. But when the reformers are talking about the Pope being an antichrist, in their time period, it wasn't just because the Pope had perverted doctrine. It was the Pope who was commissioning people to run them down and take from them their own physical lives. He was not just a theological threat. He was a physical threat. He's the one who would commission the physical danger of their children, of their wives, of their lands, of their homes. When I think of, okay, who is that type of enemy today? It's not just, oh, well, that guy,
he's struggling.
He's anathematized.
Khazarian
that is a
mafia.
doctrinal problem, a huge doctrinal problem. But transing kids and aborting babies and exporting globalism and our sacred democracy to the whole world and giving billions of our tax dollars, treating American citizens as a tax farm and importing the third world to our doorstep so that we have to deal with people who have no desire to ever assimilate, to ever truly be Americans. Who's doing that? The kinds of actions that come from our political elites, some of them are Catholic and some of them are not. But those kinds of actions have much more similarity, I think, with the types of physical threats that Luther was enduring, that Calvin was enduring.
And he's spot on, but he's not naming the enemy there.
No,
maybe
he's not.
Maybe later in that show he did, but that's I thought was unfortunate. But his point is well taken, that we should be focusing on these Talmudic Zionists, Rothschilds. They're the ones that have the control. Benjamin Netanyahu's the one that has the control. The central banks have all the control. AIPAC has all the control over our politicians. And we can't even get anyone in there without their money. And so that's the threat. Each generation, Christianity has to give a list of the enemies. Know your enemy. Know who they are. Know how to defeat them. And it's not just by preaching the gospel. I mean, you're called to defend yourself and your family and your nation. And you can do that. You know, I'm not a pacifist. I have a chapter in my book that, that blows out pacifism, but he's tracking in the right direction. James White is tracking in the wrong direction, and but James White.
Have you ever heard of this website? I haven't, but a poll came out yesterday, so I was curious. Have you heard of this website here? They came out with a new poll because you were mentioning, I said, well, at some point, the Israeli people are going to get tired of Benjamin Netanyahu, and maybe they're going to vote him out whenever their elections are, and then maybe those trials will start with around his war crimes and all that.
They've arrested other leaders of Israel. They've done it before.
And like I said, I haven't heard of this site before, and I'm assuming they did this poll. But it said a Hebrew University poll shows that roughly 82% of Jewish Israelis agree with the genocidal idea that there are no innocents in Gaza.
Wow.
Meaning that the people polled in Israel agree with what's going on.
Wow.
Now I get it. I've seen, video of what they teach in the schools there. And of course they teach to hate the Palestinians and all that. But I just figured people are getting tired of this over there. But it doesn't look to be. It looks to be there.
But Mark Beebe and that whole crowd funded and created Hamas for this very reason. Mm-hmm. To have them bomb the crap out of Israel so that they could justify stealing more land and killing more people So
Yeah, and
but
they're
at the same
convincing their
time-
population.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm seeing polls that just because there's 80% that are for that, like there's a lot of them that hate Bibi. They think that he's continuing these wars because he's avoiding prosecution, and that's just a fact.
Oh,
And
yeah, absolutely. Well,
so-
that's good because, man, I just don't understand how the people can just continue to put up with this. And here's a guy, this Jewish. Let's listen to this.
הגיעה העת לטפל ברצועת עזה. איך עושים? מה שעשינו במסגרת מבצע עם כלביא, שהוא חלק מתוך חרבות ברזל באיראן, חייב להיות מושלם במרכבות גדעון ברצועת עזה, ובמה שאנחנו צריכים להמשיך לעשות גם ביהודה ושומרון. אלה משימות שאם לא נסיים אותם, לא הכרענו את האויב הנאצי. ככה אני מסתכל על זה. המלחמה שלנו היום, אליה יצאנו ב7 באוקטובר, היא מלחמה כנגד אויב נאצי, שאיים על קיומו של העם היהודי בארץ ישראל. זאת האמת כולה. אז החליט ראש הממשלה שהוא עושה את זה בטור. אני איתו. אין בעיה, בוא נעשה את זה בטור. חיסלת את חיזבאללה. רק עכשיו קשות אולי אפילו מעבר לזה באיראן. עכשיו הגיעה העת לטפל ברצועת עזה. איך עושים את זה? מורידים את הכפפות.
Take off the gloves, you stop the humanitarian aid, you cut off electricity, you cut off water, you
מתחילים
start
להרוס
destroying.
ומגרשים מרצון, מה שנקרא, הגירה מרצון את העזתים. אין שם בלתי מעורבים, אין שם תמימים, אין שם לא אשמים, כולם מבחינתי חמאס.
Yeah, so you basically brainwash your citizens into thinking they're, subhuman, and then everything's okay.
Pretty much. That's their plan. Let's see, what else, babe? Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
No.
Well, with the Epstein thing, you also got the P. Diddy acquittal. He was only charged with two counts of something to do with prostitution, where I think across state lines or something. All the big stuff that would have gotten him, in prison, and all the names to come out and everything. There it is. It's he got transportation to engage in prostitution. He got 2 counts of that. Found guilty. Not guilty on racketeering. Not guilty on sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and not guilty on the 2 counts of what everybody was really wanting.
Yes. And who was the lead prosecutor for both Epstein and P. Diddy? James Comey's daughter.
Wow. That's disturbing.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Well, Alex Jones is all over it, man. He's not sugarcoating this stuff, so we'll see. We will see. He's saying cover-up operations run by the CIA, so we'll see.
Yeah. And I think that Jones is right. I think Trump has to come out and say something. If there's to be any hope of Trump maintaining any kind of legacy, credibility and legacy, he's going to have to come out and say something. But then again, he's having dinner with Bibi as we speak. So,
yeah. Well, the press corps totally went off about the whole Epstein thing. Even who's the Fox reporter, the blonde hair? Who's the guy?
Yeah.
He even asked the question.
Yes.
He said, well, what about all the things on the desk? And of course, she's, dancing around the question, but everybody was asking today. X is blown up with it. Trump's going to have to address it. And how's he going to dance around it? Because that's the one thing I like about Trump, and I always have, is he never danced around things. He either played dumb, lied, or just told the truth and was like, yeah, whatever, we did this, and this. maybe not the best option, but we did it. So it's going to be interesting to see what is he going to say about this? Because he's not, like a typical politician that can just come up with and just spin things. And, he's either, like I said, he's either going to just totally lie about it, or he may not even address it at all. I don't know. But that just doesn't seem like his nature. At the end of the day, I think he's going to come out and say, I did what I did, and here's why, and say, deal with it, or maybe lie and come up with some crazy thing. But spinning it like a typical politician, I just don't see him doing that. Like what she did today at the press corps meeting.
Right.
And she was
right. Yeah.
Trump's going to have to answer. The buck stops with him. He's the one that's going to have to answer these contradictions. I do have, just for some humor here, let me see if I can get this back.
Paula White.
No,
not quite.
This is futurist, or this is preterist humor. Okay. So I've got to learn how to make these videos. If there's anyone watching out there that knows how to make these videos that you could teach me, because I would have a field day with these things. All right, so watch this. This is how dispensationalists interpret their Bible.
This is going to be good.
That thing is in my way to maximize it. Can't get it out of the way. Oh, well.
Lord, are your end time prophecies about us? No, they're about Greg in Ohio watching Fox News 2,000 years from now. Who's Greg? You wouldn't know. So when will this be destroyed? In this generation. Okay, so that means sometime after Israel becomes a nation in 1948. Huh? They will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you. You'll be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Whew. For a second, I thought you were talking to us. Lord, are your end time prophecies about us?
Oh man, I love that.
No, that's hilarious.
I mean, I think that's an AI thing. And so if anyone knows how to make those videos, let me know, because I really would have a field day with that.
That's funny.
Well, I don't know if there's really anything else to talk about.
Yeah, well, I could find something on Paul White real quick if you want.
There you go. Yeah. Paula White. Oh boy.
Let's see. Oh.
Spiritual guardian of our country.
Yeah, here we go.
You got her barking in the spirit or something, or
this will close us out here. How about that?
But this is just the. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, I need to take off my jacket. Y'all don't mind, do you? I don't preach. I know it's hard for some of you because you want me in a dress. Thank you. But this is just the way it is. Truth is the word of God, which comes in the alignment, has to do with beginning. You have a beginning that is being released today. There is no glory without the reverence of God. So if we disrespect
she loves throwing that
God,
Bible around.
we're not going to have
the Bible down.
We're going to have a bunch of Christian cliches and hypocrites running around talking about favor, but not having the authentic goods. And the world's going to think we're a joke. In the name of Jesus, I decree it. I declare it. It's being established. Come on, put the.
Too late. She hands her coat to Randy, but she's got to throw the Bible.
I mean, how many affairs has she had? I mean, the thing starts out with her holding hands with Benny Hinn on a vacation in some country, hoping that no one's going to see him.
Right.
They're coming out of a hotel room. I mean, give me a break. This woman is, and Trump doesn't have enough sense in his brain.
Well, he doesn't know. He's just like, it's a blonde, it's a woman. She
loves
me.
me.
We need to go with.
You know, she'll blow smoke up my butt and tell me how great I am. And oh boy,
she's in her third marriage, just like Trump has a history of financial malfeasance. Once used church donations to buy a $3.5 million condo in Trump Tower. There you go.
Yeah, I guess she was a faithful renter. But she's a walking psyop. I mean, if I was Trump's wife, I would say stay the hell away from that crazy woman.
Yes.
She was
Believe it.
molested when she was younger, which, you know, I
Crazy.
don't make light of that, but I mean, that's
Well, I didn't know
that's you know, CIA material right there to manipulate and to control.
that. Well, is there anything in the chat? Denise, you see anything?
What do we got going on here?
Go down. I mean, go back up some.
Go up.
There. No, go down now. There was. Go. That. No, keep going down. There was something about.
Well, we got a lot
right
of comments.
here, right there.
We'll read it.
What's really going to blow your head back is the fact that Russia didn't help Iran because Putin is best friends with Rabbi Beryl Lazar. There are over 2 million Russian Jews in Israel.
They still have a lot of control. They're probably
where they came.
They're probably the oligarchs. They're probably the billionaire oligarchs. The Rothschilds know how to throw that money around.
Well, wait, wasn't that originally who took over in 1948? Was most of the Khazarians from Russia?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they went to Germany.
Ukraine.
They went to Germany after the Bolshevik Revolution. After they destroyed Russia, Germany were the suckers to bring them in, and then they started destroying the economy, their morality, their culture, just like they always do.
Yeah.
And now they're doing it to our country. They're totally destroying Europe right now with replacement migration. They're trying to do that to us while they have a big, beautiful wall. Don't let anyone in their country and establish their religion and their national identity.
Right.
They destroy the nations of the world by replacement migration. And you can catch these rabbis talking about it all the time on these videos. That they're very open about that. That's what they do. That's how to destroy the goy.
When you said big beautiful wall, I thought you were talking about that wall that they all go and kiss every time.
Oh.
Even when you're not Jewish, you just go up there and kiss the wall. And
yeah, it's just a normal thing to go there and put your hand on it and pray and
kiss it.
Yeah, kiss it. Yeah, it makes so much sense. Yeah, there's I see all these things about Trump's family member or 2028, and I'm just like, no, never again. I don't ever want to look at another Zionist. If we keep electing Zionists, we are screwed. I mean, that is the number one problem that has been showcased in this election and previous ones. We have got to get rid of this uniparty that is run by these Zionists on both sides. AIPAC funds them both, controls them both, lets them fight, to get their way. And we just have to get rid of them somehow, some way.
It just makes you think, I don't know. God's got a plan. I don't know how he's going to use them in that way and use the politicians. The one thing I do see is, like I said, everything's coming to light. People are coming around. Maybe this is the time that it's going to change, or maybe it's going to get worse for a little bit before it gets better. But
it usually does.
And I wish I could see the plan, but because I just don't understand how he allows something to exist that just is not good. There is nothing.
He does it all the time. He did it with Pharaoh. He did it with Nebuchadnezzar. He did it with Alexander the Great. He did it with the Medes and Persians. He did it with Nero. This isn't anything new.
But if you look back at that, it was all of those instances and those people were shaping something better. And a lot of it was to bring about Christ. So now what is it?
Well, God always raises up an enemy that's greater than his people so that he can step in and save the day and show his power. Right? I mean, he says that in Romans chapter 9. What if God, wanting to show his power, hardened Pharaoh's heart or hardened these people? And I think that's what's going on. It's the Rothschilds have trusted in their money for generations now, and it's the love of money, which isn't really a new thing, but that seems to be their main source of power. And they're wielding it, and they're very boastful. Benjamin Netanyahu is very boastful. God's just kind of bringing them up only to cast them down when it's his time.
But I also, how many Christians are so milquetoast and lukewarm, because everything has been so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Very
true.
Very comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's part of it.
And so there's no conviction. There's no true conviction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I've heard, not a lot, but I've heard Christians over the last few years, especially, what I do for a living, I work around more young people than I do people my age. And I do work with some younger Christians, and their mentality is, well, you do you,
Mm-hmm.
oh, the whole gay thing or whatever it is. It's like, oh, you do you. And there's no real conviction.
There's no standards. There's no real.
Yeah, you
no
can't
objective truth. Everything is subjective.
Yeah. Well, I can't judge you because because I do this, but it's like they get all that twisted. And maybe that is it. Maybe that's the milquetoast thing. And he's like, well, you know what? I need a generation that's going to stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
it is interesting.
I think the saying is very true. Hard times make strong men make good times make weak men make hard times. But I think the same is true with Christians.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more conviction in those countries among those Christians who are persecuted, who risk their lives daily. How many would risk their life, would be willing to stand there with someone holding a machete over their head and be willing to say, I stand for Christ, knowing that they're going to lose their head the instant they say it?
Mm-hmm.
How many in this country would do that?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Well,
I mean, I'd like to think I would, but you never know.
Right. Yeah, I know.
I can sit here and say that, but then in that situation, what do I do?
I could actually do that for me, but if they were holding a machete over my 8-year-old daughter or my wife, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, guys, I guess we will see you next week and see what develops by then. I'd imagine this whole thing is Trump's going to have to come out and explain it.
He's going to have to say something, and that's my point. Is he going to just go at it honestly and just be like, "Look, this is what it is. Get over it," or is he going to lie? He's not going to spin it. I just can't see him.
I don't know. I think he's learned how to be a really good politician.
Yeah, he's
maybe he's learned. I don't know. We'll see. That's going to be the interesting thing, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, Mark. We'll see you next week.
All right. Y'all have a good week.
Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.